On the waterfront at Pier 48 in Seattle, Washington is where Nirvana would play their MTV Live and Loud show. It was December 13th, 1993 when the concert took place. However, it was a pre-recorded show which would be saved up to New Year's Eve 93 and would be shown to a worldwide audience at that stage. Nirvana had also completed another show for MTV that was just a month prior, on November 18, when they played their now famous Unplugged set. All in all, it was a high-energy show played to an intimate crowd of just 2,000. As with other shows on their In Utero tour, the stage was decorated with winged anatomical models like you see on the cover of the In Utero album, and you had fake trees as well, similar to what you'd see from the Heart-Shaped Box music video. The supporting acts that night for Nirvana were rock band The Breeders and hip-hop act Cypress Hill. What some fans may not know is the show was originally set to feature Pearl Jam as the co-headlining act, and it was conceived in part as a reconciliation between Nirvana and Pearl Jam, as there had been tensions between the two bands in the media. However, Pearl Jam canceled their appearance the day of the show, with the official reason being that the band's vocalist, Eddie Vedder, had the flu. So that left Nirvana as the sole headliners of the show and led to the band playing an extended set. Beth McCarthy Miller, the show's director, she had also directed Nirvana for their MTV Unplugged set as well. She recalled that Kurt couldn't have been more helpful and lovely to her after Vedder canceled. During soundcheck, he was just awesome, just asking, "Beth, do you need more?" MTV had originally planned to film the show in New York City, but Vedder wanted it to be in his hometown of Seattle, which led to MTV finding Pier 48, an industrial building on the Puget Sound. Amy Finnerty, an MTV employee and friend of the band's, recalled that Pearl Jam's cancellation was no big deal to Cobain, and that he was only concerned that the Breeders would still get to play and were taken care of. He didn't want it to just be the Nirvana show. That's how he was. Just as a side note, back in the day, at that time, I think it would have been pretty darn hard to get Nirvana and Pearl Jam on the same billing. But let's move on. It is a pity, though, because that would have been one awesome show, right? With Pat Smear on board as second guitarist, as he would be throughout the In Utero tour, Nirvana would play a 17-song set list that night, including the song Endless Nameless, which was the song that basically meant, "Alright guys, it's time to smash up everything and get the heck out of here." Nirvana's third studio album, In Utero, had been released just around 3 months before this concert took place, and the show started off with a song off of that album, radio-friendly Unit Shifter, a song that Nirvana would often kick off their shows with at around this time period. The next two songs were from the Nevermind album, Drain You and Breed, and then back into a couple more from In Utero with Serve the Servants and Rape Me. Nirvana would play all their big hits from their two most successful albums, Nevermind and In Utero. However, they did leave off one song. You guessed it, one of their most popular and well-known songs, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Now, Kurt would often leave this song off set lists, as the song had become so commercially huge. And in a show of defiance, he just simply wouldn't play the song. Now, it wasn't just the Breeders and Cypress Hill that were accompanying Nirvana that night. We also had Anthony Kiedis and Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers popping in from time to time, doing these funny short skits.
Here we go! Here we go!
The show! Oh, we had a big spectacular event.
Hey.
Hey, where are we going again?
Did anyone ever tell you you look like Art Carney?
Did anyone ever tell you you look like my ass?
I think I see land!
That's your hand you see in front of your face.
No! I hear the show!
Is that the show?
That's the show!
Let's go!
Let's go!
Oh.
People who watched the broadcast back in the day will remember those skits for sure. Funny stuff. To cap off the night, we go back to Endless Nameless, the final song from the show, and it was a turbulent performance of the song, to say the least. For those of you who don't know the song, it was the hidden track from their Nevermind album. And as I mentioned before, it was a song they would often close their sets with, and it basically just meant, hey, it's time to go crazy, time to go wild, smash up all our instruments, and get the heck out of here. Fun for the crowd, and fun for the band as well. And coming near to the end of Endless Nameless, you had fans jumping up on stage. Kurt was even trying to pull people up onto the stage. The mosh pit was going off. It was just total chaos. And to top it all off, you had this. Kurt smashing the head off one of the in utero mannequins. Could you get any more a perfect finish to a concert than that? With the show over, Kurt wished the crowd a good night.
Good night.
The original broadcast for the show first aired at 10 p.m. on December 31st, 1993. It featured an edited version of the show with several songs being omitted for TV time constraints. As mentioned before, the broadcast also featured those short skits by Anthony Kiedis and Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and also a New Year's Eve countdown by American singer Janet Jackson. Now, it was in October of '96 when the version of Scentless Apprentice that the band played this night, well, that appeared on the live compilation album from the Muddy Banks of the Wishkah. And it was the only commercially available official release from this concert prior to the release of the DVD. Now, speaking of the DVD from the show, that was released in September of 2013, and it was released as part of the 20th anniversary of the band's third and final studio album, In Utero, which was of course released in September of '93. The DVD features the band's concert in full from that night, and also contains bonus footage from other performances from the In Utero tour also. Nirvana Live and Loud was also released for the first time on vinyl in August of 2019. As a final comment, I just want to say this was one really awesome Nirvana show. The energy was off the hook. The songs sounded great that night. The band performed really well. And the finale of the show with Endless Nameless was just totally chaotic and awesome and crazy as ever. One awesome show. You gotta check it out. If you haven't, it's Nirvana MTV Live and Loud from 1993.